Yeah, hi. Today I want to show you a system I made for fractal burning. I've seen a number of these devices demonstrated on YouTube, and a number of people on Lumberjocks have done them also. It intrigues me a lot, so I put together this system, and with this system I've kind of addressed a lot of the safety concerns. Now, what is fractal burning? Now, here's a little example of it. This was actually my test run, the very first one that I did. It uses high voltage electricity on a piece of wood that's been coated with baking soda. And then, once the high voltage is applied, it starts to burn the wood. For a high voltage supply, which is very common to those of you that have used this system, of course, this transformer here comes out of a microwave, supposed to put out 20,000 volts. I've kind of encased it a little bit and put a handle on it, so try to keep your hands away from the transformer as much as possible. A lot of people have a hand, the wand that they use, they hold it in their hand. And I thought, well, it might be a little safer if I made a device so I don't have to hold it. Of course, I still can hold it if I wanted to. I've used PCB pipe for the handle and then covered it with pipe insulation. And this, of course, can be taken right out, and then I could use it as a hand. So far, I haven't had the courage to do that. I'm just trying it out with it when I'm not touching it. And then I put a weight on here so it actually weights it down, and also with the other wand, a weighted. I got that idea from somebody on Lumberjocks to have a weighted one, and then you didn't have to hold both of them, because that seems to put a little more danger if you're holding both of them, and more chance of getting a shock possibly and doing the under. Another safety concern that I addressed was I want to know when this is turned on and make sure it's turned off. So I made this little box, and with a switch on it. It's just a solenoid operating switch from a car or whatever it is. So when you push that in to operate your burning device, it puts a light on. So when the light's off, you know it's turned off, and it's quite safe. Then you should still unplug it besides that. Well, a couple other things that I've done to try to make it safer is this device here. You turn it on and off. I've made that so you can operate it with your foot. You just put your foot on that and operate that. Gets your hands free. And if you later on, I could operate that with my hand and still turn it off in case anything happened quickly. So, and also there's a cement floor, so I put this plastic table that I scrounged up from somewhere and put it on a piece of plywood for the time being, and I'm standing on a piece of styrofoam with a piece of rubber foam besides there. So hopefully this is a little safer than some of the ones that I've seen demonstrated on YouTube. So I think what I need to do now is we'll actually fire this up, and this is fire. It will produce fire. So firing up is a real statement. Okay, before we can fire it up, we need something to conduct the electricity between the two electrodes. And what I've got mixed in this cup is water and baking soda. I found first time I tried it, I didn't use hot water and the baking soda wouldn't dissolve, but this time I heated the water up quite hot, and then it dissolved quite nicely. So I'm just using a brush, and I'll just coat the wood between the electrodes, and hopefully this will work. It's a little bit of a learning curve to get it started. I just made used it a couple times here, so a little bit of water on there, and then we're probably ready to go, so let's give it a try. That seems to be the that was the first try there. The first time I tried it wasn't too successful. I needed a little bit more solution there. And Lumberjocks, one of the persons suggested that they were able to control it with by spritzing it with some of the solution there. The second time I tried it worked a lot better. You saw how it really took off. So I'll just try it once more here and see how it goes. Oh, ready? Okay, if you see this video, you know it might have been successful. I just experimenting with some aniline dye on the wood. It's a water-soluble dye, and that might make a nice background. Okay, I just thought I'd show you a little closer view of the burn that I made here. I started with the yellow, and I had a little too much liquid on it. I found that after I wiped it off, I was able to get a little burn there. And then on this red one, I tried it, soaked it in fairly well with the baking soda, and then wiped it off, and it took off. The first burn that I made looked like this, and so now we're going to go in the house and clean this up a little bit with the water and a brush, and then we'll see what the actual pattern looks like. Yeah, okay, I'm going to clean this off here. I've got a few brushes. Before I've used the kitchen brush, and I just put it under water and brush it. Clean the smoke off, and it still leaves a nice pattern on there. Also got these other brushes I picked up at dollar store, and we'll try those out. They seem to do a good job. There was 3 of them. One's brass, and we just don't want to destroy those fine lines, but yet get it cleaned as much as possible. If you sand it, from what I've heard people say, this is a steel brush. Probably that's not a good idea. If you sand it, then you get all that dust into your wood, and it doesn't leave a nice pattern. So that's what that one looks like. And let's try this one here with the colored dye on. Quite interested to see how that turns out. I've got some ideas. That was, I should have used one that's the last there. So anyway, there's some possibilities by experimenting with the dye, giving a colored background. Might be quite nice on some types of projects. Anyway, this is just my first experiments, and I just wanted to pass what I've done along and a few of my findings there. So thanks for looking, and we'll say Merry Christmas to all. Christmas in a few days.